not breathe.
Correct.
Not see the sun, not
Yes,
see
yes,
air.
yes. I mean, how long can you do that?
It must be like.
It's that especially like, for example, by welders and people like that, who maybe stay about 5 to 6 of them in one house. They cannot possibly stay indoors all day. They'll get sick
They'll have
just
to
by
come out. They want to see that.
Yes, true.
Which part of Mumbai do you live in?
Parel.
That's nice.
Yeah.
At least it's somewhat civilized. You see the skies. And,
Yes. True.
Great. I think we're just about 2-3 minutes away from...
Okay, sure. I'll just come back.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm ready now. Whenever you want to start.
Great. Ravi, shall we start?
1 minute, madam. Just 1 more minute.
Sure. I've also got some scrap paper along. I'm going to doodle to Arzan.
Oh, please. It's such good fun,
Okay. So that's one of yours, right?
No, it's not mine. So what I do is, since ages, people who come to a home say, which are your works? I don't keep my own works at home because I'm constantly surrounded by them at the studio all day, So at home, I have all my friends' works, other artists' works and stuff like that. So it just gives me a good break from seeing my own work continuously,
And they're all over the city as well, right?
Yes.
Juhu and Nariman Point.
Yes. In fact, there is one which I installed 3 days before the lockdown.
Great. Hello and welcome to the 4th edition of Time Pass with the New Indian Express and Indulge. Today we have the fantastic Arzan Khambatta, whose work, if you're familiar with Mumbai, Dot Mumbai, there's the bull in Worli, there's the the dolphins in
the dolphins in Worli,
and the bull in Nariman Point. Am I right, Arzan?
There was a rhino in Nariman Point, close enough, which has shifted residence, but is coming back to the same place.
Okay.
And amongst the ones which you can see outside, there's the memorial to the INS Vikrant in Colaba.
Oh wow!
And what I was just talking to you about, there is a bull which is installed. I put it 3 days before the lockdown.
Oh.
On the 23rd, it was supposed to be inaugurated and had everything shut. So it's been put there, but it's still wrapped in burlap and canvas, and it's awaiting inauguration. So that's it.
Where exactly is this?
This one, if you know Worli, this is at the start of the Haji Ali Sea, the Worli Sea face. So it's right there.
Must be wonderful. It'll be fantastic.
Oh yes, it's
how
good.
Big is it?
So it's 15 feet. It's 15 feet
wow.
long and about 9.5 feet tall. And it feels good when you're driving around and you see your own work. It feels good.
I'm sure. But today he's going to do something very simple and something very basic. He's putting us back in touch with our hands. And I think during this lockdown period, we're all discovering the joys of simple living and the joys of frugality. And I think Arzan really symbolizes that. He's going
Thank
to
you.
doodle our way out of depression in a way. So,
Sure, sure.
Arzan, over to you. Please do tell us, what are the joys of doodling at this time in particular?
So basically, I started doodling about, let's say, 2011 or so.
Right.
And I just realized that it's a different form of art. And I love doing it because as, how you say, as grungy and as hot and sort of the circumstances for creating a sculpture, as much rough they are, the opposite applies to my doodling, because I can sit in a nice quiet AC room with music and then I can doodle. Right. So to me, it's a contrast. It's a complete contrast from the heavy work that I do, the welding torches that I hold, the grinders and stuff like that, the noise and everything. Right. So it is to me like how you say, like I'm literally, it's like brain surgery for me. I go as much in detail as possible, because I try to sort of do the contrast of what I'm doing at the studio. Right. Another thing that I do is, when I'm doodling, I sit with a paper with a complete blank mind. I do not know anything about the final product. And that's the beauty of it. I sit down and the mood you're in, whatever mood you're in, it literally, your pen flows that way. What comes out is a direct reflection of what you're going through. Right. So try this experiment. I mean, there's so many people who sometimes, even when they're talking on the phone, they have a pen in their hand and they scribble, or they do spirals and stuff like that. Try analyzing it after some time. You'll realize that if you're calm, the lines come out very nice and lyrical. If you're very edgy, it comes out scratchy. If you're confused, you'll do circles and stuff like that. It actually comes out without a thought process. That's the best part. It just flows directly from the head through your hands onto the paper, So doodling to me is a wonderful release, and especially at a time like this, when I can't get any of my tools at home. They're noisy, they are sort of industrial stuff. And so what I realized is, I had a lot of these black pens with me, which I've been doodling since ages. So I picked all of them up and I got them home, and I'm just doodling on paper, on some 3D surfaces, which I'll show you. And and it's such super fun. And then my daughter said, so why don't you teach this to people? And I started doing this a month back on my Instagram handle at Arzan Studio. I started doing these live demonstrations, and then I realized how much dearth there is of people just wanting to do something creative. Any creative relaxes you, believe me, whether it is playing a guitar or listening to music or putting color in an abstract form. You have to remember that you do not need to be an artist. You do not need to know art or understand art totally to enjoy yourself to create art. You have to just completely break all inhibitions and just take a pen, a paper, and just start drawing. And so many times I do a lot of workshops with children, okay? The first thing I tell them is, tell your parents to go away from where you're working. Because when that parent is hovering behind, they do a few lines and then they look behind to see what that parent's reaction is to that. So don't let that happen. What your work is your work. It's entirely based on your ideas, your theories. There is no right and wrong in art. Of course, something will look better than the other. That's how it is. But if you've had fun along the process of doing something, I think you've achieved a magnificent goal of creating something,
Do you get a lot of young mothers telling you, Arzan, please take care of my child, especially what do I do with him? He's hyperactive, or she's lazy, or whatever. And how do I get them to do something?
So I think the thing is to see, children these days have so many distractions. Okay, one handheld phone device is like good enough to sort of isolate from you throughout the day. You won't find them if you give them access to that. So the thing what to do is to somehow make them use their hands. Literally, I have this theory that when you use your hands, whether it's a ball of clay or whether it's literally, I mean, it's I'm talking of slightly elder children. You give them a penknife and some wood and ask them to just sort of whittle away, or just crayons, and anything where they are devoid of any sort of gizmos, and they use their head pure and simple to just do something from their hands. It's wonderful. And the thing is, believe me, I have known this. I mean, the amount of workshops I've had, all you need to do is just get them started at that. Once you get them started, see how they get involved. And that is the best part about doodling. It immerses you completely in. It takes you in, literally. You like so many people ask me, what do you do to meditate? And to me, I have this theory about meditation and all that. Try sitting quietly in a corner with your eyes closed and tell your mind not to think of anything. It's a joke. The more you tell your mind not to think of anything, the worst thoughts will come to you. You'll think of everything over the world, including what's for food today and what's this and where is this one gone and all that. And the best way to do it is to get involved with something. I've seen it happen. The moment you get involved with something, after 10, 15 minutes of doing that, look back and see, did you have any other thoughts? You wouldn't, So it is immersing yourself in whatever. So to me, I practice a lot of yoga as well. So when I'm doing yoga to a very deep level, you just realize that you've forgotten everything else. I'm not talking of meditative yoga. I'm talking of actual physical yoga. And so anything that involves your brain, gets it down, harnesses it, to something. And if that interests you, then you've made it. You sort of, your kid will sit there and do it for hours together. Give every child the freedom of using art materials and paper and all that freely. I mean, I've heard parents say we waste so much of paper. Don't call it wastage of paper. It's like just literally, how you say, flood him with art materials and stuff like that. I'm talking from the artist's point of view, and see what happens. It's amazing. If that freedom is given to anyone to literally take a crayon and go haywire and say, just enjoy yourself. Do not think of the final product. You see how involved he becomes and what comes out.
Great. So, Arzan, shall we try it?
Sure. Okay, sure. So what I'll do is I'll just change the camera around to the papers that I've got in a moment. And first I will show you that, just to give you an idea of the various techniques that are there. I haven't read about any of these techniques. So what I do is, like I said, when you're sitting on a doodle, you don't think, everything flows. And at that time, there's so many different techniques which come out. For the classes that I'm taking, I had to go back to my doodles, pick out one element and use it as a technique to teach the others. So that's exactly what I've done today. So before we go into what we have doing today, it's very interesting. I've got a superb drawing for you today, which we'll do, and it's very easy. Okay. We'll do a little warm-up exercise, but before that, just to give you an idea of what I've been teaching the others, I'll just take 2-3 seconds to show you all that. And so I'm changing the direction of the camera right now. Back to, okay, you have to tell. Fine. So, can you see that?
Yes.
So this is just one of the things that I've been doing with them. Just lines and basically going over bumps. I used to call it the speed breaker. You see that? So this is just something.
It does look like that.
Yeah. So it's wonderful. This is one of the techniques. And then further to that, what we decided is, why can't we do a form of an animal form and then sort of take the lines through? You see that? So you can see an elephant coming there through that. So for every technique, I do some stuff for the seniors and some for the children, so they get excited as well. Then I call these noodles. I do these a lot. These are very, very satisfying. And the amount of students that have posted their work back to me at my Instagram, and it's wonderful just to see what they have done from that. Yeah, see that? All these different kind of techniques and all that. Here I've exploited using negative spaces. Here I've shown how the shading can be done. This, I call this cellular organism. See that? All these cells and stuff like that.
This looks like a coronavirus.
Yeah, it is. Here, stippling, just dots.
Wow.
You do that only with dots, these figures and stuff like that.
This reminds me of, do you remember that Spyro
yes.
Which we used to have as kids.
Correct. Oh, this is only done with spirals. This is done without lifting the pen up.
Wow.
So it's one stroke, just goes on continuously. And this is fast doodling, you know. So I've just done a figure from that. Then this is something believe me, I had studied this when I was in the 5th standard, literally. I'm not joking. And it's basically getting a curve by only doing straight lines, you know. So this is what we did finally from that.
Reminds me a bit of the sea link actually.
Yes, it is. It's a suspension bridge, but it actually is a scientific phenomena. The straight lines do form a curve, you know. And the last one I did 3 days back was something called metamorphosis, where we started with a very simple shape and kept adding one element. You see that?
Wow.
Like that. So we did one which was very geometric and one which was just like this.
Right.
Okay. So let's start today's stuff. Okay.
Right.
So basically, what I use something called Microtech pens, but it's absolutely okay if you have a normal ball pen as well. I'm just adjusting the camera a little.
Right.
Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
I'll just check if the paper is completely in view. Is that okay?
Yes. Just a little.
Closer?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes. Perfect.
Fine. So, this is what we'll do today. So, I'm just to give you an idea, I'm standing in a very sunny spot, so I can't see the screen properly. So, just in case I go out of the screen, please let me know. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you. So, here's what we'll do. So, coming to the pens I use, you'll use normal ball pens. Don't stress at all. It's perfectly okay. But I use something called these micron pens and the Stedler pens, which have different thicknesses of the nibs. So whenever you do this later, when everything opens, when your stationery shops are open, try getting a few of these Microtech pens, which have different thicknesses. So it comes in 0.005 mm, which is literally like a thin hair. Then it comes in 0.5 mm, 0.8 mm. And when you start doodling and you use these various thicknesses, the effects are phenomenal, you know? Okay, so I'm just to warm up. First is the warm up. I always do a warm up like every exercise. Let's do a warm up today. And today we are doing straight lines, okay? As straight as they can. I don't. A lot of people tell me I can't even draw a straight line, but it's perfectly okay. We're not looking at any precision here. So basically, first try and pull the lines. Just do straight lines. That's it. Do straight lines from left to right, from right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top, diagonal, just to get an idea, just to get your hand a little mobile. You see that?
Right. Yeah.
You can actually pull slightly longer ones like this.
Yeah.
But do not use a ruler. It's okay. If your line goes this way, it's perfectly all right. Okay? It's absolutely okay. This is just to give you an idea of what we're doing. The most simple lines to do are left to right, if you're a righty, and top to bottom. Always pushing the pen. When you're going up, you're pushing the pen. It's a little difficult. So when you're going again right to left, you're again pushing the pen, which is a little difficult, but it's perfectly all right. So I'll go a little slow. This is just to give you an idea of the main elements that we are using today. And so it's lines. Okay, today is going to be straight lines, completely straight lines. And I have this theory. So what is a straight line? So basically, I used to teach this to my students. I said, you draw a dot, and when you take the dot on a walk, it becomes a line, correct? So that's what you're going to do.
That's a nice one.
So let's start. Okay, so this is it. Now, we're starting with the main artwork.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to draw any geometrical shape, the least being a triangle, because a triangle is minimum 3 sides are required to enclose a space, correct?
Yeah.
See what happens in my line also, when it goes right to left, it wavers a little. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to start with a triangle first. Okay. So if everyone's got this down, and let people tell you if I'm going too fast, I'll again slow down and go back. Okay. Now.
No, I think you're fine. Yeah.
Fine. So now the next thing to do is take one corner of the triangle, and you see this. There are 3 corners here, right? Let's say A, B, C. This is just I'm doing it to explain to you for the first time. We won't even do this the next one we do.
Yeah.
So from A to corner B, you have to pull a line, but don't touch corner B. Go a little away. Did you see that? Go a little away.
Yeah.
From B to C, but go a little away. Okay. Back from C to A, but go a little away. Keep doing this till you hit the little off the corner. See that?
Yeah.
What will emerge from this will actually surprise you. It will shock you. It will give you a complete 3D image. And see, I went too far. See that? But it's okay. Even I make mistakes, so don't worry. So there you go. See that? Keep going till there is no more corners to go to. See that? Now, the next thing you need to do is use any of these sides. We're going to expand on this. Use any of, now this side, I am going to do the next shape, which is like a polygonal square. See that?
Okay.
I don't, sorry, this got left out. Okay. So I'm not going to do ABCD again. Just let's start from one corner, hit the other corner. Same way. The other corner. The closer you hit the corner, the better the effect, always.
Yeah. Mine are too far.
It'll come with practice. That's it. So basically, it always comes. See, for example, I'll show you now. I purposely take it far in the next shape and see the effect that comes out instead of going very, very close.
So,
correct?
Yeah, so close.
So now,
it's so hypnotic, you know.
It is completely every doodle that you do, all the ones which I showed you, the dots, the noodles, the cellular kind of thing, everything is so hypnotic because you have to concentrate on it. Correct?
Right.
And the moment you concentrate on that, you literally forget everything that's around because you know you have to get your lines right. Correct? Now, I'm going to further expand on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to now let's take a 5-sided one. Let's take a pentagon. Okay?
Okay.
One.
So actually teaching maths also.
Oh, it is. Yes. Although if it was calculative maths, there's no way I would have passed because I was terrible in that. It's just because it's visual that it works. Okay. So sorry, I said 5-side, but I've done 6. Okay. Yeah. That's another thing you have to remember. Go with the flow. If you make a mistake, incorporate it within your artwork.
Right.
Never you realize I've never told you to use a pencil so far. You can actually use a pencil and then fare it out, but in a doodle, going directly with the pen makes a lot of sense because it's good fun, you know? Right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go a little faster this time just to get an idea.
Same thing.
Same thing, but you have to calculate the amount of sides and just go hit every side. I'll show you one image of this same technique that I'm doodling on a 3D surface. So I had ages back, I had made a fiberglass horse head at the studio. And this was done for a charity auction.
Right.
So I had the prototype with me.
Right.
And since we knew we were heading for a lockdown, I got it home.
Yeah.
And I started doodling on that.
Oh.
After doing this particular shape, I'm going to show you what more you can do with this. But before that, I'll show you what I've started on the horse. Okay?
Right.
So you get an idea of where you're heading and overall what you can do. So you have to remember that every technique is just the starting point.
Right.
You have to use that technique intelligently and do multiple stuff from it. Right. I'll give you an idea how. I've had students who have used this technique to draw hair of a head of a lady. You know, I've seen fashion design students who have used this as garments.
Okay.
You know, see that?
Wow.
The moment it goes closer, you can go faster because your lines are easier to pull. See
exactly. That? Yes. Amazing.
It's very satisfying, believe me.
It's really meditative, you know.
It is. And imagine this is with straight lines. Believe me, when you're doing lyrical lines like the noodles I showed you, that is even more because there the lines flow. So here I'll just tell you, rhythm-wise, this is going like tuck, 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 correct?
Right.
There when you're doing smooth lines, there is like one uniform flow, you know? Right. So immediately sort of the mindset changes, you know.
Right.
So now I'm going to take the camera to the horse there. I purposely put it out to show you same technique, how you can use it, and then I'll get back to show you more stuff. I'm just taking it away. You can see that?
Wow.
So this is the full horse head.
Okay.
I've got, and this is what I've done on it.
This is very Godfather like horse's head and all that.
Yes. But I'm going to keep it away from my bedroom.
Yes, from your mattress.
See that? So this is the kind of stuff. So
wow.
From one element, you can actually sort of do multiple stuff like this.
Yeah, and it just transforms his work of art.
Transforms. Yes. So I'm going to do a lot more on it, everything around. And of course, you see here, I've done just the pencil line because it's a 3D surface. It's difficult for me to hold the pen. So I've done some pencil lines to give me a sort of a guideline. Now, coming back to this, so you can imagine how large you can go with this. You can, and the best part about this is that you can actually create these vertices. Like for example, can you see this side of the paper? Okay. Yeah. So imagine drawing out first an outline.
Right.
A very jagged geometric outline. Okay. Yeah. Something like what I've done on the horse.
Right.
Okay. Now divide this into the sections that you'll be working on.
Right.
Triangles, polygons, you know.
Right.
One more polygon. I'm doing 6 sides here, and imagine this. Now, imagine within this when you do it. Okay. So what happens is you have an overall form in which you work all these things out. Okay. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to do this one triangle here, just for an example.
Yeah.
So if you want to move faster, do smaller sections.
Right.
And they'll come neater also because the longer you pull the line starts getting wavy, isn't it?
Right.
So shorter sections are more fun. And believe me, I've got students who have done this on large chart papers of 2 feet by 2.5 feet.
Wow.
And it looks gorgeous because the more it gets filled,
the better it looks.
The better it looks because...
Can you use multiple colors or do you prefer to use this?
I prefer to use this because in multiple colors, what happens is the joint doesn't come. Like, for example, you see here, you can't make out where one is ending and the other is starting. So it actually looks as if the lines are flowing through completely. If you use another color, it might not get the same effect as this. But when you talk about color, let me show you what more you can do with this. After I do these 2 triangles, I'm going to show you what more you can do with this. You can use color in this in one way. I'll show you. Where?
Yeah.
1 second. Where you use, now I'm not using color. I generally use a pencil. Okay.
Right.
Imagine shading every alternate one.
Right.
So, I mean, the sky is the limit, you know, just because I say don't use it in color doesn't mean you shouldn't. Actually, I always keep on telling my students, don't listen to everything I say, you know, break away and do your own stuff because that's the only way you'll be able to experiment and know what works and what doesn't work, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only by experimentation. I started sculpting when I was in school without any education. I haven't had any art education at all. So
you're an architect by profession, right?
I'm an architect by profession. Correct.
Yeah.
So to me, it has always been about experimentation.
Right.
So, and experimenting fearlessly, literally, you know?
Yeah.
See that? So now,
wow.
You need closer. See that? So you can shade it this way.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. Now, another thing you can do with this is one composition, correct?
Right.
This is one composition that I showed you where you can do an overall shape and do it.
Right.
Another thing you can do is imagine you take a paper.
Yeah.
Imagine this is my scope. Okay, I'm doing a small square. Right. Imagine this is my scope.
Yeah.
I leave out I just draw random geometric shapes on it. Okay. I'm going to show it in a smaller area because otherwise it gets a little tedious to keep on. Okay, see that? Okay, I've done these shapes. Okay, now.
This is how we used to make a house when we were
Correct,
small.
correct. Now, the idea of doing this in pencil is because I intend to erase these after you finish. Okay, so now what you do is, where here you went for a positive sort of a structure where you did the whole structure and did the lines inside. Here, I'm going to do everywhere except I'm going to leave out these spaces which I've done. So, I'm going to start my triangulation method here.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a rectangle here.
Right.
I'm going to first show you. Okay, I'm doing one here, one here. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to circle 2-3 spaces like that to give you an idea of what can happen. Okay, I'm going a little fast on this just so that we can fill up faster. But you see, I'm going in a clockwise direction with the spirals, with the lines. Try anti-clockwise also sometimes. It really helps. And you know, like how they say a right-handed person should try doing things with the left hand, just to develop the other side of the brain. See how bad my lines have come out. See that? I'm going the opposite way. So, I mean, but you practiced with that, you know. And there you go.
Do you remember this Liza Donnelly had written a piece on how when her right hand broke, she started doodling with her left hand.
Yes.
And the lines came out much more rounded.
Okay, yeah, of course. Yes, yes.
Quite interesting, actually.
Very. Because it's the moment you sort of break any norms, according to me. Understand? The moment you break any norms, something interesting comes out of it, you know?
Right.
So, like, for example, I mean, in terms of my welding, when I started working, the only machine I had was a welding machine.
Right.
And a welding machine is only generally used to join pieces of metal together.
Right.
But since I didn't have a gas cutter at that time, I knew that the welding machine would heat up at a certain temperature. I started using it to cut and melt the metal as well. Okay. So now what happened was, of course, it was not the right method, but you being an artist, you can experiment with these different techniques and break norms, you know?
Right.
So when a grinder is used only for wooding the metal, I used to use it purposely to roughen the metal and see what happens, you know? So you purposely do this so that you get different techniques. You see, so you understand what I did? I'm leaving out the negative spaces.
Yeah,
so
fabulous.
this also on a large canvas looks wonderful. All these are small components which I'm showing, which the viewers, the participants should go and expand on this. Okay. If you feel like showing it to me, please tag it on Arzan Studio on Instagram. I'll definitely give you my comments on it.
We will.
See? So this is what it is. Do the participants have any questions right now at this point?
No, I think they're all busy doodling.
I'm so happy.
We don't have a single question.
The thing is, after they stop, they'll realize that they should have asked this and that, because this is so absorbing. They'll forget everything else, you know, literally.
And Arzan, you can draw any shape. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, any shape, literally. I mean, just for example, we're doing this with straight lines. I mean, see, this is what I like the best. I mean, it's unplanned, right? So now I'm doing this with geometrical shapes. Right. Supposing I say, let's try it with slightly rounded shapes like this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. I'm using the same technique, but
same technique.
Yeah, I'm doing slightly rounded lines. See that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, because there is no wrong and right, the experimentation becomes so much fun.
That's what they say, that when a child comes to school the first time, he or she actually just colors. And then the teacher tells him draw within the lines, you know?
Correct. And that messes everything up.
That messes your creativity.
Absolutely messes it up, you know? I used to literally...
this was more rounded, you know?
Yes, it's more rounded. I'm just saying the fluidity of the lines instead of going straight. The technique is the same. See that? I'm hitting every corner individually. See this?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, the sky is the limit, you know?
Right.
When you come to something like this. I'm just going to do this so it encloses a triangle, gives you an idea.
Right.
And when I do my large pen and inks, there
Yeah.
is no bifurcation in terms of thought that let me start with triangles and let me start with this technique and then I'll go on to that technique. No,
Nothing.
it's all one flow of ideas that just comes out and, you know, sort of moves from one to the other. So
Have
this
you
is it.
seen any transformation in children in particular, Azan, when once they've done this workshop with you for a while?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. It basically, remember one thing that, like I said, this is a starting point to a larger world that they can experiment with. So once they know that
Yeah,
only a pen and paper can
yeah,
do so much,
yeah,
in this is one thing that they can do in their free time, which sort of gets them out of boredom, you know?
right.
I mean, instead of, so now what they do is, I mean, it's a fact. We had, I think, 100 the things that our children have at this age, but
Right.
we never used to get bored because we used to use our hands, we used to go outside,
Yeah.
and there was a lot more interaction.
Azan, we have somebody, Priya Vardhani Murthy, who wants you to zoom in a little on the drawing. She
Okay.
wants to see the detailing.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. There you go.
Ah,
There you
beautiful.
go. See that? I'm showing you all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what I can do? I can send you snapshots of this once this is over so you can share
Yes.
with everyone.
Yes.
This is the shaded one.
Wow. This looks like Picasso.
And this is the slightly rounded one.
Right.
There you go. Sorry. Is it seen? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The slightly rounded one.
Yeah.
And this is the one with the negative spaces. You
Right.
know?
And this you can just go on and on and on.
Oh, you can go on and on and on. You know, like I showed you on the horse, there is no beginning or ending. It just flows from one to the other, you know? So I'll change the camera back to me again, just in case you
Yes.
want to ask me some stuff.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Great. So what exactly are the changes that you see in this?
Yeah. So
And
I
how
feel,
young are they sometimes?
so
How young are they?
at my studio, I've had where I do my classes and all that sometimes. I have 6-year-olds also coming sometimes, you know,
Okay.
and it's wonderful. And everyone, when they enter the studio, they have this apprehension. They are very scared at first, looking at the metal and looking at
Right.
weird things hanging around and all
Yeah.
that. But once I explain to them, because I do such, how you say, I don't do a crafts class where I show them fold this way, fold that way, nothing.
Right.
The design is entirely theirs completely. So they are very confused in the beginning, you
Right.
know. And in the beginning, when I used to do this, I used to get very scared looking at the faces. I say, are they going to do this or not? But
Right.
now I've got so used to it. The first hour is complete. The first half an hour is complete confusion, where they don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Right.
But then once they use their hands and they start out, and when they realize how easy it is and what they can achieve with that, you'll be amazed at the kind of designs that come out, you know.
Right.
And I have so many students now who write to me from, they're doing architecture abroad and stuff like that, who are still in touch with me, who started with me when they were 9 and 10 years old, you know.
Super.
So it's like, it's wonderful to see them grow and develop and to keep in touch, you know. Like every teacher would say, it's wonderful to see what the students do, you know. So they definitely, children become more grounded,
Right.
100%, because it makes them focus. It's an exercise. Like how you do physical exercise, this is an exercise to help them focus and sit down in one place, you know, and sort of, how you say, alienate themselves from all distractions and work on. It's like playing a piano, you know.
Right.
So you get so involved in it that nothing else matters around you, you know.
Right. It must be particularly good for children with ADHD, Arzan.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah?
yes, absolutely. It's wonderful because anything which is repetitive, you know, which you go on where they use their motor skills tremendously.
Right.
It is wonderful, and so it's helped a lot of people, you know. And you sit and do. I'm talking of only 2D stuff here. Imagine giving them sticks and just asking them to stick them and make a 3D sort of sculpture. It need not depict any design, just an abstract. But just the thought of taking two sticks together, gluing it, holding it till it dries, putting another one, they visualize and then it just grows. And it's wonderful how much this effort pulls them in and makes them realize what they are doing with their own hands, you know?
Right. So somebody wants to take classes, how can they join you?
So
and
basically,
she's an adult, not a child, she says. Manisha Kanoria Lohia.
oh, that's the perfect. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing these live doodling sessions on my Instagram handle, that is Arzan Studio.
Yeah.
And I have two. I'll just to give you an idea, I do a lot of photography as well. Okay.
Right.
And I love wordplay. I pun a lot. Okay.
Right.
So I post my photography on Arzan Khambatta, and I do my sculptures and all my doodling on Arzan Studio. Okay. So ever since the lockdown, I mean, this is an idea my daughter gave me. So I've been going live every 2-3 days in the morning to teach one technique of doodling. So the next one is tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
So it's basically completely a new technique which I'll be showing, and it's about experimentation basically, always, and it's wonderful. I mean, of course, I will not stop when the lockdown gets over. We'll do something or the other. So this is just inspired by the lockdown because I have a lot more time sitting at home than at the studio, you know.
I see you take a lot of advice from your daughter. Very good. How old is she? What is she?
My daughter is 22. So
she's very smart.
Oh, she's very smart, yes.
So we have Swati Kasera. She also wants to join your studio. We have Susan Sridhar, who says it's absolutely stunning. I'm not an artist, but this is great. And we have someone else saying, please send me your email ID and how to join in for the session tomorrow.
Sure, I'll tell you. So firstly, starting with the joining in tomorrow, you need to go on Instagram and follow Arzan Studio. So you'll get a notation at 11:30 saying I'm live, and then I'll conduct the whole thing from there. And my email is also arzanstudio@gmail.com. Okay, very simple. So, I mean, I'll be, of course, I do a lot of physical classes as well at the studio. Once everything opens and things get back on track, we'll do some stuff, definitely, you know?
Right, great. And one last piece of, is there any other timing as well? Sudha Junjunwala also wants to join, and Swati Kasera wants to know, is there any other timing as well?
I can do an evening time as well, like I'm doing right now. So what I'll do is, since I've announced tomorrow's session, I'll do it at 11:30. In the meantime, they can log on to Arzan Studio. Okay, the next one, I'll do it at 5 in the evening, so it'll be better for everyone. We can do that.
Wonderful. We have all the questions are about that. I'd love to join too, Mahima Podar. And I also listen to my son who's 22 years old. They're the best influencers. Where do you stay? She wants to know.
My studio and my residence, everything is in Parel area. So it's good. So I just remembered, do you want me to show you the complete final pen and ink that I've been doing?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'll change the camera once again, just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
Once I just remembered that. 1 second. So I'll just put this here for the moment.
Yeah.
And I'll just get my sheets there. So luckily, before the shutdown, all my pen and inks which I've done at the studio, I had started photographing them, so they're on my iPad. So it's I'll just show you. So these are, like I said, all started. Sorry, I just touched something. Right? 1 minute. Can you see them?
Yeah, it's just gone off right now, Arzan. Now we can. Just put it.
1 minute. My screen went off.
Okay, now it's fine.
Okay,
beautiful.
See that? So this is just to give you an idea. Like in this, when I'm doing it, there is no thought that let me do this first and then I will do this. It just starts, okay, and just flows from one to the other.
Right.
Giving an idea. Yeah?
Wow.
So
someone is asking, Subha Prada, can we mix the straight and curved lines into one image, or is there a specific method?
Oh no, of course you can take it in one image. 100%. 100% take it in one image.
Right.
So these are all different.
Anuja Mundra wants to see some more drawings, which you're anyway doing right now.
Oh, I'm doing that right now. Yeah. So these are all mostly from 2011.
How long is each session, someone is asking?
About 30 minutes.
Okay.
25 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes to 40.
Right.
Because if it's a little difficult technique, it goes to 40. But sometimes my issue is sometimes the technique is so simple, I finish in 10 minutes. So and then I keep on doing alternatives because, like I said, the technique is always, it's the starting point. It is what you do afterwards with it that actually matters, you know.
How long did it take you to create each of these pieces?
These take me about 10 days. Working about 10 days or so. Yeah. So very detailed. Very detailed. If I take it closer, you'll get an idea.
Wow.
See that?
Right.
You'll get an idea. And there are some which are more detailed than the other. Like for example, this one.
Right. Oof.
This is like a full supernova sort of thing, you know.
And someone is asking, Rajnandini Khaitan, is this the same as a Zentangle? What is that? I don't know.
Sorry. Is this the same as?
A Zentangle.
A Zentangle. Okay. Yeah. Zentangle is a very fancy word for this. That's it. Okay. It's literally, it's nothing else. Because I know what they are doing with the Zentangles and all that. It actually is a very fancy word for exactly the same thing.
Something very simple.
Yeah. So see this. So.
Wow.
You see the details, and so, and then I'll show you some one. Yeah, this is one of my most detailed ones. The one looks like a can of worms, you know. So, and another thing I love doing is being an architect. Then I do all this geometric stuff as well, you know.
Yeah.
But completely unplanned, like totally unplanned. That's what makes it so much fun.
Detailed, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a city within a city within.
Correct. True.
Like
true.
You know, the beginning of the Game of Thrones, you know.
Yes.
A bit like
stuff like this. See that?
Wonderful.
So this looks like a very futuristic parade area that I stay in right now. Stuff like
wonderful, Arzan. Thank you so much
for
your time.
I'll just
any last piece of advice for us?
I would say, you know, sometimes don't even think of what I've taught you today.
Right.
Take a paper, a pen. Don't even look at the paper that you want. Have your coffee and scribble. Literally scribble and see what comes out. It's amazing. So once you do all that, then it'll give you a starting point to do more stuff, you know?
Right.
And if you want, do it directly on your walls.
And what music do you listen to, Arzan, when you're doodling?
Oh, so I listen to many genres. There's my favorite, of course, is Pink Floyd. Wow. Then there is I recently, because of Spotify, now I'm able to remember music which I had heard at my parents' house when I was young, and find it. You know, like previously we had to go hunting for CDs around the world.
Yeah,
you know, whenever
of course, in our time.
So at that time I remember this electronic music had just come in, the synthesizer. I'm talking about the 70s. Okay, literally this late 70s. And I want to tell everyone to listen to this album. It's called Oxygene, 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 by a French musician called Jean-Michel Jarre. Jen Michel Jarre. And it's wonderful. I just put that now, and I'm more happy listening to it because it brings back memories from my earlier house. And it's wonderful. I mean, that is just music which can play in the background throughout for all I care, you know?
Right. And in fact, this is just the last question and it ties into this.
Yes.
Mahima Podar asks, if you could, what word of advice would you give to the 20-year-old Arzan?
To the 20-year-old Arzan? Oh, do exactly the same thing that you did then. It's okay. You don't need to change anything. I'm very happy.
Great. Thank you so much, Arzan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your work is inspirational. It really is. And thank you. We had a wonderful session.
Thank you.
More power to your pen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.